Hey, what's up, guys? We're back again. UFC 223. Everyone knows by now the main event was changed from Tony Ferguson versus Khabib to Max Holloway versus Khabib. So I'm gonna just do a quick breakdown of that right now. Max Holloway versus Khabib. First off, I just want to talk a little bit about the main event that was canceled. You know, it seems like that fight's cursed or something, man. Like we might never get it. It really sucks because that's one of the best matchups, in my opinion, that the UFC could make in the history of the company, even. So, if we don't get that matchup, and I heard Dana White saying in a few interviews that he's never putting that matchup together again, and that's just a shame, man. I think that if we never get to see that fight, Team Tony versus Team Khabib, that'd be a huge fight that was. Just falls to the wayside in MMA history because they've tried to do that 4 times. The heat is there. I feel like they have great chemistry together in the build-ups. And just for some reason, something just is telling it that it can't happen, man. Like, the way that it happened too, Tony tripping over a wire, like, how crazy is that? That's probably like, I don't know if that's ever, I've never heard of that happening before. That's so insane. Just such a freak accident. Just feels like maybe it's not meant to be, man. But I do want to say that I do think it's complete bullshit that they're taking away Tony's title. He got hurt doing media obligations for the UFC. And I don't know how you could strip him, especially after they let Robert Whittaker just keep the belt. They showed the precedent that interim champion can keep the belt, even when there's an undisputed title fight going on. So the fact that they did that they stripped Tony Ferguson, or Dana White kind of hinted to the fact that Tony Ferguson is no longer going to be the champion, that's kind of a shame, man, because he earned that winning 10 in a row, the longest winning streak in the history of the lightweight division for the UFC. And it's a shame that he's getting his belt taken away. He's probably not going to get as much money as, he deserves. But, I guess that's how it works. Really is a shame. I really feel like that shouldn't happen. But we're getting Max Holloway to come in for the replacement. And, I was thinking about this. It's kind of like going to a restaurant and you ask for a Coke, right? And then the waitress is like, hey, we only have Pepsi. So you're like, I guess. I'll take it. That's kind of what it's like, right? But then when you're drinking it, maybe at first you're a little bit upset. You're like, damn, I wish I had a Coke. But then when you're drinking it, it's like you could hardly tell the difference, right? So hopefully, fight night when Max Holloway's walking out, my excitement level's high, and I could hardly tell the difference. I won't even be thinking about Tony Ferguson because this is still a sick matchup. For Max Holloway, he's stepping up, putting his 12-fight win streak on the line. 145-pound champion, 6 days. This guy's just a complete beast, man, just a warrior. And from all due accounts, he's going to have a pretty brutal weight cut. And he's coming off that recent pull-out against Frankie Edgar due to the ankle injury. And when he went on the MMA Hour, he was talking about he was just getting back to running. He needed about 2 to 4 weeks to get 100%. So I don't know if he's coming in this fight a little bit gimpy. You hope not. You hope that, he's coming in 100%. But if Max Holloway is coming in 100%, he's a tough fight for anyone in the world, man, and that's a fact. Watching Max Holloway's tape, I feel like he adapted a pretty similar style to Nick Diaz. He does a lot of the same stuff as Nick. He loves to throw that check left hook. He'll pawl out with that lead hand all the time. He's always using it as a rangefinder. And then he comes in with that really nice 1-2. He almost has like a piston-like 1-2. Really beautiful. He comes over and around with overhand rights, really likes that overhand right. He really likes to, jut his chin out there, try to goad you to try to hit him, counters. Nick Diaz does that as well. Like I said, he has a lot of similarities with Nick Diaz. Plays with his hands, tries to make himself long. Good pressure, good volume. He's one of these guys that just never gets tired as well. And, really good solid chin, good lateral footwork, and he's going to need to use that a lot against Khabib. I think that that's going to be the only way that he's going to be able to win, is if he's able to use a lot of lateral footwork and throw a lot of combinations and just keep Khabib off him. He's going to need to throw a lot of punches, and I think that he's going to have to sit down on a couple of them, really put a lot of power on and make Khabib respect him, and just make Khabib fear walking in just so nonchalantly like he does on everyone else. Max does have a piston-like 1-2. Like I said, he shoots it right down the middle. Really crisp, really fast, big power on it. Really dropped Jose Aldo with it, had him really rocked. And He finished Jose Aldo back-to-back times, kind of cement himself as the man to beat at 145 pounds. Brian Ortega has something to say about that, but really, 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 showed himself to be a much better fighter than Jose Aldo is today. Jose Aldo's a bit past his prime, everything like that, and he really put it to him. He'll attack with a lot of uppercuts, hooks to the body. He's extremely fluid with his hands, and once he gets confident in a rhythm, he really starts to talk shit, try to get in your head. Really did that against Jose Aldo. He was clapping at him, standing at him with his hands up, and he seems to start a bit slow, needs time to get going. Aldo won the first and second round in both of those fights. But, towards the tail end of the second round, you could start to see Max was getting his groove. He was starting to get going, and he really started to put it on Aldo. And I think his main goal in this fight will be for him to not let Khabib get it on his legs, man. Khabib doesn't shoot much from range, so he definitely needs to keep his range, keep his distance, and just try to keep Khabib at the end of his strike, stay in the center of the cage, circle around that warning track, but stay in front of that black warning track. That has to be fire for Max Holloway. He cannot get anywhere near behind that black warning track. And Jeremy Stephens was able to get body locks and just push Max right to the cage, which was kind of like a red flag for me, because if Khabib could get you against the cage like that, then it's going to be very hard to not get taken down. Jeremy Stephens was attacking with basic takedowns, not chaining them together, just going for a single leg on one side, or, body lock, something like that. Khabib will chain takedowns together. He switches sides, goes for body locks, singles, double legs. Just has a plethora of takedowns, just very good at offsetting your balance. And then once he gets you to the ground, his top control is, much better. It improved leaps and bounds, and it's just incredible now. He only had 4 takedowns against Edson Barbosa, and you just saw the damage and the ability he had to keep Barbosa from standing back up. And when you contrast that with, when he fought Abel Trujillo back in the day, able to stand up 21 times, you just see how much better he's gotten with his ground control, his top control. Really good at trapping the hands now and side control. Really likes to get that mounted crucifix, rain down a lot of punishment. Really good at getting to that mount. And he just puts it on you, dude, and just slowly but surely is drowning you. But Max actually does have great takedown defense, especially against the cage. Really likes to get that wizard, and he has really good wrist control, heavy hips, and just denies those takedowns with, pretty flawless technique. He's defended 27 of 27 takedowns in his last 10 fights, so no one's even been close to taking down Max either. He's really done a great job of defending very well. He's going to be the smaller guy in there, and I've seen people push him to the fence. Like I said, Jeremy Stephens was able to push him to the fence, and like I said, I think that's a major red flag. If Khabib's able to do that, I think Khabib's going to take him down, and I do think Holloway would do a solid job defending off of his back early, but if he continues to be taken down, it'll definitely turn into a bludgeoning in the later rounds, in my opinion. He showed a tremendous ground game. Max did against Aldo, getting the mount, taking the back, just being very heavy, hard to buck off on top. But Aldo was already hurt badly, so you don't know how much of that has to do with Aldo being hurt. But Holloway is a warrior for taking this fight, man. I would love to see this fight with both guys with full camps, but obviously that's not going to happen. This is an easier matchup, in my opinion, for Khabib. He doesn't have to deal with a 6-inch reach disadvantage. He actually is going to have a 1-inch reach advantage. And he's not going to deal with someone who's nearly as good in the scrambles or off their back with their jiu-jitsu. And Tony was obviously a bigger, stronger wrestler as well. So I do think Max had his eyes on Khabib, though, like you said, at the presser. I don't think that he's coming into this fight blind. I think that he kind of had a game plan for Khabib already, and I think the game plan for Khabib is pretty obvious, right? Just stay off your back. And he'll try to replicate. I think Max wants to try to replicate the performance Michael Johnson had in those first 3 minutes against Khabib. He needs to keep his range, throw a lot of volume, fast combinations, and just circle, make himself a moving target, hard to track down, stay in space, and just try to tee off on Khabib, hurt him early maybe. And I think Khabib's going to have a similar game plan to the fight against Michael Johnson as well, as opposed to the fight against Barbosa. I think that he's barely going to throw any shots on the feet. I don't think you're going to see him ever throwing punches in the pocket with Max. I think he's going to be very judicial. think he's going to wait. I think he's going to just have his high guard, walk down, slowly walking down Max, throw a few feints, maybe throw a few hooks, a flying knee, get inside, and just try to take him down. I don't think he's going to mess around with the striking at all like he did against Barbosa. I do think Max is a tough motherfucker, and we've never seen Khabib in, a hard 5-round fight. All of his fights been relatively easy, so if Holloway can make Khabib work early, wear him out, there's a possibility of a late finish of him being able to take out 3 rounds, but I just think it's a very slight possibility. I do think Max will win a round, maybe even 2 rounds, but Khabib will be too dominant when he gets him down. I think that, you saw against Conor McGregor, which was a long time ago, but you just saw that, Max was getting passed, he was getting taken down by Conor, and I just don't think that in 5 years, even though that's a long time, 5 years, it's just like, is his ground game good enough to be able to stop Khabib from getting into those positions and just wailing on him? I don't know. But, I'm going to say that Khabib is able to take him down. I think Max will win a round. I think Max is going to rock Khabib. Maybe not rock him hard, but just get him to maybe stanky leg a little bit, get him to respect his power. But I think Khabib's going to win the belt here. I think he's going to stay undefeated. And I'm going to say it's by unanimous decision. I'm going to say that he's unable to finish Max. Max is a tough guy. He's a warrior. But, a big win for Khabib. This is a big legacy fight for him. It was actually kind of like, in my opinion, when you look back at his career, this might be one of the best wins of his career. And without the context, people will say, oh, wow, what an incredible win. This will really, push Khabib up that ladder of being one of the best MMA fighters of all time, especially if he continues to win, finishes undefeated, has Max Holloway on his record. And hopefully we get to see that Tony Ferguson fight, man. I really want to still see that. Write down in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys want to see that fight again? Would you guys still be excited if Dana booked that fight again, Tony Ferguson versus Khabib? Or are you guys kind of sick of it? Do you guys not want to see that again? Me personally, like I said, I think you should book that fight as many times as possible, man. I don't know what to say about the pullouts, but that's a fight that needs to happen. That's a fight that I'm dying to see. I've been wanting to see for so long now, and just to feel incomplete if it didn't happen. So, like I said, my pick is Khabib Nurmagomedov, and it's going to be by unanimous decision. And subscribe for more, guys. I'm going to see you guys next week. Sorry for putting out that video with Tony Ferguson. I was literally uploading it right as the news came out. So, I'm going to put that fight or that breakdown in the description as well. So if you guys want to go hear what I did for the other 12 fights, it's going to be UFC 223 Tony Ferguson versus Khabib. And, just disregard the main event. But the main event is right here for you guys. And I'm going to put the rest of the fights, the breakdowns in the description. As well, it's on my page. It's UFC 223 Tony Ferguson versus Khabib predictions. But, alright guys, thanks for listening. Subscribe for more.